Hello everyone. Welcome. It's Thursday again on what feels like the 207th day of January. Oh, has anyone got? I know we all need to be perky, but I am just going to point at the fact that I've really struggled this month. Feels like such a long month. It doesn't help that it's been cold and pretty grey though. But yeah.
Tropically sunny in Daventry today.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Sun, blue skies. Coast, yeah.
I'm always extolling the virtues of how amazing the South Coast is. Maybe it's not. Maybe I need to be in Daventry. There we go. Anyway, but we're going to hopefully bring some sunshine to people's lunch times with our live lunch. We are live on Green Umbrella's Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, but not on Christina's LinkedIn today because she doesn't let us run riot over her profile when she's not here.
Such a shame.
I know. She's a party pooper, isn't she? So, where is our esteemed leader today? What's she up to? Do we know?
I'm not actually sure. She just said she was out for the day, but
spinning on
work related, definitely. But
she'll be with a client, I'm sure, and busy in meetings and doing either. Well, actually, no, she's getting quite good at as well as doing kind of team development and self development, as well as she's at a mastermind event, which is business development. So yes, hence the three of us today. If you're here along for the ride, say hello in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. So as usual, bringing you all the news marketing, but kind of the world of social media as well. I have to say, I caught up on last week's live lunch. Not at the time. I had other bits and pieces going on last week, so couldn't join you live, but I did watch the replay on the Facebook page. And I think burning questions I need to know as a follow-up from last week. You were taking the mick out of Jane, you being quite posh and saying, "Oh, crumbs," and "Oh, Mark," quite a lot. And Mark, you were going to change your ringtone. Have you done that? I think that's what the world needs to know.
I need to get the MP3. need to maybe on Monday when we're back in the office, that I can do something to make Jane go, "Oh, Mark," and then I can just sneakily record it, and then that can be my ringtone.
You're in. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But now I know you're going to do that. I'm not going to say it.
You will. You won't be able to help yourself.
That's probably true.
You have to remind me. I'll do that. I'll try and do that for next week.
I also thought it was quite mean of Christina putting you on the spot like that last week as well. She was really lasering in on you to kind of come up with what's shareable content.
Yeah.
I bet immediately as you hit leave the studio or end the show, you were like, "Oh, there's this and there's this."
There's nothing worse, is there, than being put on the spot for making you look completely unprofessional and like you don't know what you're doing. But anyway.
We all know that's not true. And I must say, Christina messaged me this morning going, "Oh my God, I forgot to ask you, can you be on live lunch today?" And I said, "It's all right. Jane already asked me on, Monday." So I said, "She's organised. That's why she's your favourite, isn't it?" To which her reply was, "Hell yeah."
Awesome.
So here we are today. So one of the other things, though, that I picked up from last week, which generated quite a bit of excitement, was, and I wondered, because I must admit I haven't had a chance to check, so I'm kind of relying on your knowledge here, Jane, the Instagram reordering the grid. Is there any more news on that or any more chat around it? Because they were talking about it. Is it there? Do we know?
I don't actually have it myself, but I don't know whether other people do. I haven't actually seen any more news on it other than the article that I saw last week. So,
okay.
So I don't know. So if anybody has got it, put it in the comments as well, because I don't at the moment.
Still a watch this
I don't think
space,
Green Umbrella does either. So watch this space.
Can't
wait for it though.
Is it Ellie's birthday in the team today?
It is Ellie's birthday today, yes.
Oh, we must say happy birthday. Isn't that terrible that I didn't know that, but Paul did know that. So yes, a big shout out then to Ellie. Happy birthday, Ellie. Hope you're having a lovely day. So there you go. Today, I think, is National Chocolate Cake Day as well. So what more of an excuse to eat cake?
Shame I'm not in the office today, and nor is Ellie, I don't think. Otherwise, she could have baked us a chocolate cake because she's actually a very good cook.
Well, it's a boys-only office, probably for the first time ever today. Me and Dean. That's it. Excellent. No one else here.
Wow. That just doesn't happen, does it?
No girls allowed.
No. So we're gonna run riot.
Basically, that just means you'll be kind of work every now and then. Go, all right.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's it. That's all we've
Right,
said
mate,
pretty
yeah.
much so far. Yeah, how's it going? You're right. See you later, mate. He's gone out to the kitchen now. Anyway,
So he knows he's probably got to be quiet while you're on live lunch, rather than making all his BD calls. So
indeed.
there you go. So what's been happening this week then? It's crazy busy, isn't it? I think we're all kind of, Mark, I know that you've turned me down for an invitation tomorrow because you've got too much work to do.
I know. That's how bad it is.
I know. Lunch with a rugby legend. He's not coming.
And that's not you though, the rugby legend.
Oh.
Well, it might be, obviously.
I'm a rugby legend. No, I'm
one. And then there's the World Cup winning captain with you.
Yes.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, it's been a bit crazy this week. So I'm going to be locked to my Mac for tomorrow, unfortunately.
There you go. So clients, this is how important you are to Mark and the Green Umbrella team, that he is foregoing lunch with Martin Johnson tomorrow to work on
and
websites and me, obviously.
Indeed, it's just been a bit manic.
So what are you working on? What's going on in your world at the moment?
Mix of everything as normal, really. Yeah, so still got some website stuff going on. Got a couple of sites on the go at the minute, and then it's that time of month for the social snippet for all our clients that get that and download that off the website. So getting all that sort of thing ready. It's always end of the month, sort of start of the month. Always busy for that as well. So lots going on. Brochures, all sorts of things as well for clients, and roller banners, things ready for Rec Expo week on Tuesday, losing track where that is as well. So obviously stuff for us and stuff for clients for that as well. So all bingo.
I had to double check the dates of Rec Expo because I had a sudden, oh no, what if it's next Thursday and we have to do a live, at a live event, doing live lunch like we did when we were at Birmingham at the NEC in October.
No, thankfully finished by Wednesday this time.
Yes. So Recruitment Agency Expo, if you are in the recruitment sector, well worth a visit. So it's 2 days, packed full of a conference program, fantastic speakers. Is Christina presenting? Yep. So she's lined up to present as well.
First day in the afternoon. Can't remember exactly what time. Cool. So it's 8th and the 9th, isn't it? I think. It's week on Tuesday. It starts.
Free to attend. So people just need to go onto Rec Expo, Google Rec Expo, and go onto their website and attend. But so there's kind of the exhibition side where there is heaps of suppliers. So not just marketing companies like us. There's customer relationship databases, payroll software, you name it, anything you would need as a recruiter. Well worth it. And also, the team will be there, so people get to go and say hello and see people and actually like 3D form, or not just kind of a screen basically.
I thought we were going for holograms.
Oh,
well, once the metaverse is launched, that's what we'll be doing, isn't it?
Exactly. So just beam each other in.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
That'll be Rec Expo 2030.
Yeah.
How long's that away? It was only 8 years. I was going to say, well, we'd be retired by then. Sadly not.
Yeah.
No.
Not that we don't love what we do and we wouldn't work here forever, obviously.
But
a little lottery win and an early retirement might not go amiss.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're all getting ready for Rec Expo then as well at the moment?
Yeah. I think we're just about got everything ready for ourselves. Just got to decide how to get there and things now. So we're leaving that in the hands of the boss to tell us things like logistics.
Logistics, this is when you need an ops manager.
Yeah. So cool. All good.
All good. Jane, what news from you?
Well, I'm actually going to Rec Expo this time, which is going to be my first time because normally I'm the one left behind in the office looking after everything else, but I'm actually going, so that'll be a first for me. Yay. And the first big event I've been to for ages, because obviously with lockdown and everything, we haven't been anywhere. Christina has, Mark's been to the odd thing, but I haven't been anywhere work-related for a good 2 years now. So,
how do you feel about it?
No, I'm quite happy about it, other than the train part, because there's a million changes to do to get from here to Olympia. So the hassle of actually going on the train. But the event itself, no, I'm looking forward to it actually. So it should be good.
Oh,
Yes.
I must admit, when we went to the one in October, I did struggle a little bit. Christina, I loved it obviously because she's very people person. I think where we'd been in lockdown for so long, and by that point I still hadn't seen some family members, so I was a bit kind of, oh, there's a lot going on. It was a bit sensory overload, but yeah, it was really, really good to see customers, you guys. So you'll have a blast. You will have a blast. So
and actually meet some clients that I've never actually met in person.
Yeah.
So that will be nice too, because that's the trouble with being in an office and having clients everywhere, isn't it? A lot of what you do is on the phone or on Zoom. So it's events like these where you do get to see people. You feel like you know them, and you do, but you've never actually met in person. So
yeah,
it'll be good.
So you're not now being Jomo Jane, you are Journey Jane. So you're not enjoying the joy of missing out. You are proper, you're in it.
Yep. For once. After it's over, I might go back to being Jomo Jane again.
Once every 2 years.
It might be too traumatic to go on the train, so we'll see.
Brilliant. So what else? What's new in the world of social media this week? You've normally got some great little nuggets of information for us.
I have, yes. So this one is quite interesting, actually. It's Snapchat again. I mean, it's one of those things that us oldies don't really use that much, but the younger people do, obviously. But they do seem to lead the way with a lot of new tech, which I do find quite interesting. So a thing that they're launching now is catalogue powered shopping lenses, basically. Okay. So I think at the minute, when you create a Snapchat lens for a product so you can shop it, you just one lens, one product, I think. So these are sort of more catalogue things so that like shops can do a range of products through the one lens that allows you to try them on in AR. And so there's lots of different options. You can have two people on the screen and it will put the glasses or whatever jumper you're trying on both people, and you can sort of see what it looks like. You can aim it at your feet and it will put trainers on your feet so you can see what they look like. But the difference with this is that you can switch between products all within the one sort of environment. And then the other thing they've done is they've made it easier for people to create these. So I think in the past it was quite tricky. Now there's this sort of drag and drop templates and pre-made functions that you can just click on. And so in theory, it should be a lot easier for anyone to create one of these Snapchat lenses who actually sells to people. And then on top of that, they've made the analytics a bit easier. So you can see what's popular, what's been tried on a lot, and then you can direct your budget onto other things if that's what you want to try and bring them up to being as popular as the other things. So, I mean, it's quite interesting. Like I said, I don't use Snapchat myself, but I love the fact that they're doing all these things, and that I quite like this sort of virtual trying on. Again, though, it leads on to the metaverse again, doesn't it? Because in the end, we won't go shopping. We'll just go to this virtual shop and try everything on in a virtual mirror, and it'll appear in the post the next day, won't it? So, but yeah, I just thought that was
3D printed.
Oh yeah. Good point. You want
They're
those shoes? Print them now.
Yeah.
They're so tenacious, Snapchat. I love the fact that they sort of haven't given up. As an app, because they were really, crazy popular. If you go back, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, it's probably more than that. I don't know, but yeah, they were crazy popular because they're one of the first ones to do the sort of filters, where you could have like little bunny ears or, sort of that would we call that augmented reality? So it's not quite metaverse, but it's in that space. But then, of course, things like Instagram caught up with them with filters. So. But they still keep kind of pushing for different things. It's like they're kind of going, we're not just going to go away like loads of the other apps do and loads of other websites do. We're going to keep trying to reinvent themselves. So, I think respect to Snapchat for that.
Yeah, where they lead quietly in the corner, others seem to follow, don't they? But...
it's still one. So I've got my Data Davis social snippet head on because I was writing that this morning. So and I was looking at apps. So Mark gave me the idea actually this month because I was thinking, I feel like I've covered a lot of, I've done a Data Davis on email marketing. I've done one on blogs. I've done one on just kind of general social media data. So I wanted a different topic. And straight away, Mark said, well, why don't you look at apps? What's the most used? What's the most downloaded? What's the data behind it, basically? And in the top 10, Snapchat was still one of the most downloaded apps last year globally. So the apps you would expect are in there, like Facebook, Instagram, Zoom was a biggie, WhatsApp, obviously. So the kind of general ones where we're connected and we're messaging. But Snapchat were in there. And I don't think things like LinkedIn, I'm just doing this from memory now, but LinkedIn, Twitter were, and LinkedIn definitely wasn't. So it's still got perhaps a bigger presence than maybe we are giving it credit for.
Interested, perhaps see some usage data, see where it sits. That could be next month's Data Davis.
Data Davis. That's quite niche, though. I feel like I need to keep my Data Davis kind of at a global level, so they appeal.
Data Davis Snapchat Special Edition.
Maybe. I still have the Snapchat app on my phone, but I don't use it very, very rarely. So yeah, I think from a demographic point of view, it is generally used by lower age groups. But from a shopping point of view, if people can be trying things on, or that's pretty cool.
Definitely. Might start to attract some of us older people to it. You never know. Older people, sorry. Just made us all sound completely ancient, sorry.
What else is in the news?
Sorry.
What else is in the news from a social media point of view?
So Instagram apparently have brought out a live display profile. So on your own profile, if you plan on going live, you now should have a banner. I think it's just above, just below your bio. There's a banner which apparently tells you when you're next scheduled to go live. So scheduling your lives came out a few months ago. Before that, you just literally went live. You couldn't schedule them. But then you could schedule them, but the only place you could share them was in stories or in a post just to say that you were planning on going live. But now this banner should be there and you can scroll through it to see all the scheduled times for that particular creator.
Okay.
So that's quite handy. I mean, I don't tend to watch that many people live on Instagram, but if you do and you really like a creator, then that's probably fantastic news, isn't it? That was quite a good one. Other things I've seen this week as well. TikTok is launching a platform basically with tips and insights for marketers. So I thought that was quite a good one. I've not actually looked at it yet, because I only just read the article this morning. So it's focused on brand promotion and development, and it gives you info on how to put a pixel onto your website so you can track your analytics, how to partner with other people, how best practice type things, how to best utilize your assets, that kind of thing, really. So just a whole sort of platform. It's divided up into different sections, and I think you can just work your way through it, and it gives you, all you need to know basically to market yourself on TikTok. So
excellent. TikTok was one of the most downloaded, I think, if not the most downloaded app last year. So it led the way.
Billions or something, wasn't it?
I've mentioned it before. As to the fact that it was, and I know that came up last week as well, whether TikTok was worth looking at, but it's really not going anywhere. So if people haven't kind of embraced it or looked at it yet, it's worth a go.
Definitely.
Cool. I feel like I cut you off there. Was there more?
I only have one tiny thing left, and it's only a small one. Instagram basically have updated their poll sticker. Before you could put a sticker on it gave you 2 choices. Now it's going to give you 4, and you can change the colour of the question. So apparently people were moaning that, sometimes your poll is going to want more than two answers, which is fair enough. It is. You don't often see a poll with only 2, do you? So yeah, now you'll be able to add 4. So that's quite handy too.
Yeah.
Although Christina hates a poll, doesn't she? So maybe that's not good. Too many polls about polls.
I absolutely think they have their place. Polls on LinkedIn drive me nuts, because most of the time they're completely irrelevant. I genuinely saw one fairly recently that asked how you defrost your windscreen in the morning. And it wasn't from somebody who worked for like the RAC or the AA. It was just it's very cold this morning. I had to use my de-icer. And I just think this is so irrelevant. It's not even kind of trying to tenuously be. It gets me. It grinds my gears when I see stuff like that.
Maybe you should create a poll about what grinds people's gears.
Maybe I should. But that said, on Instagram, I can see, especially in stories, when people are kind of doing a this or that, I can see the benefit of polls. You know, depending on which sector you're in, you know, it might be so particularly kind of consumables. So if you are looking at so say someone's a media celebrity and they're kind of saying, what shall I wear on TV today for this interview, this or that, and people vote, it's a great way for them to get engagement.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, if people are going for a job interview or they're a recruiter, what would you wear to the interview? Tie or no tie, brown shoes, black shoes? You know, so it is a good way to start getting user generated content to get some engagement as well. So absolutely, I think they've got their place, and the this or that will then go to this, that, the other, or the fourth one.
Yeah.
I know we always like, obviously me and you always relate things back to rugby, but the Saints did that last year. So they actually had a whole King of the Kits competition where it was like polls to determine what this season's kit would be. So the home shirt was designed from previous sort of iterations, and it went through a whole series of polls basically to narrow down the design. And obviously that was during lockdown, so it obviously kept the fans engaged with them as well. So yeah, in certain situations that can work really well.
Yeah, I absolutely think they've got their place. Yeah, okay, cool. Talking about kind of engaging and shareable content, one thing that I don't think's come up so far on Live Lunch, and this is sort of a tenuous link to marketing, but it's very much in the kind of, you know, what's shareable, why do things go viral? We haven't talked about Wordle. Are you two? What do you know about Wordle? Do you use it? Does anybody watching use it?
I think I've been in a cave. I've seen it.
Have you heard of it, Mark?
Yes, I've heard of it. Yeah,
but I haven't. You can't escape it.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at it, to be honest.
Yeah, same for me. Heard of it, but not looked.
Yeah.
Right. So same. The main thing I know about it is that people seem to be sharing their daily Wordle score on Twitter, on Facebook. You cannot get away from it. So it's so Ellie said, "How is that spelled?" And she's laughing. I don't understand whether does she actually want me to spell it? I don't know.
I don't know how to spell it either. Word with Ellie on the end, maybe.
I am going to spell it, but purely because the captions that come up on Facebook are hilarious sometimes. So last week you were talking about Mark peaking too soon, and it basically called him Pete. So it heard your peak as Pete. Ellie, I think you had tonsillitis last week, but it turned that into someone's name. So it was Tom Sillitis. So Wordle, Wordle is, and it's been described to me as a word game that's kind of like Boggle. So if anyone knows the game that's got the little cubes, you would shake them up and make words out of them. But apparently the reason that it has gone so successful and so viral is because once you've done, completed your little daily go on Wordle, it doesn't just say sort of share it with your friends. It's just a one-click button to share your score. So, and it seems to be, it's kind of you have like, I don't know, 6 guesses to get your score, or to guess the word at the bottom. But yeah, it's kind of everywhere. And I was just thinking, is it this year's Clubhouse? Do we think it's going to be everywhere, and then just kind of go, and people will get bored of it? Like Words with Friends, maybe.
Yeah, I was just going to say Words with Friends was like that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Maybe. I suppose a lot of these apps and games have their sort of moment in the sun, though, don't they? So, sort of quite popular for a short time. I'm trying to think. I suppose there's some games that have continued sort of over the years, but there's not many really, is there?
No, I mean Candy Crush was a crazy fad, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think there's still a few, but you don't know, do you? Have to see. Time will tell.
Except that I now want to have a go of it, so I'm probably going to download it later. Now we've talked about it.
Well, judging by the reaction, it's strangely addictive. I don't know whether everyone gets a different word every day. I don't know how it works. But what really struck me is how viral it's gone. And you cannot go on to Facebook or Twitter without seeing someone sharing their score. And it's not just kind of, friends, general public. You've got celebrities out there. So Richard Osman, who is, he's got a huge Twitter following. He's got a very dry sense of humour. I'm sure people know who he is. He's one of the guys that presents Pointless and is now a best-selling author. But he's all over it as well. So yeah, that kind of made me think about what makes something so shareable. And we were talking about it last week. And some of it's just in the design. It's just in the design of kind of, right, you've played the game, and then you just click the button to go, here's my score today.
Yeah, it's nice and easy. But I think there's also that element of competition too. The minute you share that score, someone wants to beat you, don't they? And so, that maybe makes perfect shareable content, doesn't it? Is making people compete with each other.
Yeah.
So that'll be the thing. If we start doing it, Jane will be like, oh, you're rubbish.
Oh, maybe it's this year's pub quiz type thing, Zoom quiz.
Yeah, perhaps you're right. Yeah, there was a similar one a couple of years ago, just before lockdown, that we all played. Because I remember me and Mark used to come in every morning and go, "Where have you got to? I'm on level this. I'm on level that."
It was wordscapes.
Wordscapes, that was it. Yeah. So
and blockscapes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, Ellie thinks we should have a Wordle office competition. Yeah, maybe we should. I like that idea.
Not being competitive at all, Jane.
No, I'm not competitive.
All right, so we'll report back next week maybe on how we're all going. But yeah, I just from a marketing point of view, I'd imagine that the people that developed it probably didn't anticipate it would go as viral as it has, because you obviously, when you're launching something, you want it to be a success. But there's probably kind of the bit where it's just steady growth, and then just suddenly does that, and then might do that. It might stay flying high, but I imagine, like most things, it will do a little peak and trough. So, cool. And there was another thing that I noticed this week, again, showing kind of the power of social media. And this was from she's a chef, sometimes seen on TV as being a sort of TV personality chef, but she's not kind of one of the main ones. Jack Monroe, who's also known as the Bootstrap Cook. So has this kind of come into your sphere at all, or yeah? No. Okay. Sorry. So on Twitter, she kind of did a bit of a thread, a bit of a rant, but it was a whole thread of posts. So, and again, sometimes when you do a thread on Twitter, that's where you've got multiple tweets and they're all linked together and they basically tell a story, which can really pull people in, which kind of goes against what Twitter is for, isn't it? Because Twitter's like short pieces of information, but you keep going through the thread because you want to see where you get to with it. So she reacted to news that the inflation rate was, it had been announced. I can't remember exactly what the inflation rate is, but she reacted to it saying the way that that's measured is rubbish. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't show you how big the gap is getting between, the haves and the have-nots, basically. So, and she started giving some real life examples saying, well, when I was in the supermarket, so I've got receipts from this year versus last year. So it's, it's not 2% now inflation. If you've got a 45 pence bag of rice, that's what it cost, a year or 2 years ago. And now it's £1. That's, gone up. That's more than doubled in price. So, and she was giving all these real life examples of saying rice, pasta, potatoes, bread, the basics that people need to buy, they have all gone up by, 50%, 100% in price. Whereas some of the kind of more luxury items have stayed the same. So the kind of Marks and Spencer's or Tesco's Finest dine in for a tenner or dine in for £20, that's still a bit there. Maybe the what's included has changed slightly, but those who get that as a treat for one meal, whereas those who are perhaps kind of, struggling at the moment, they can't even afford to think about that. They need that £20 to feed their family for a whole week. So, it was a real kind of visceral thread of tweets that she shared, kind of going, this is not okay. And it has been shared millions of times, literally millions of times, retweeted, everyone kind of going, you need to read this. This is important. To the point now where she's booked solid with media interviews on kind of Radio 5, Sky News, BBC News. And the ONS, so the Office of National Statistics, if I can get that out, they have agreed to redefine some of the measurements they use for inflation. So it just kind of goes to show how powerful social media can be in kind of pushing change.
Definitely.
And I just thought that was phenomenal. She was probably sat there going, I mean, okay, she had a bit of a platform already. You know, she had a good following, but she's not huge. I mean, have you guys heard of her?
No.
Possibly, but
maybe I recognise her. Yeah,
So her book was called Bootstrap Cook, which was about kind of cooking on a budget. So it was kind of, you know, good for students as well. So that's kind of part of the reason it went. You know, she's known, but she's by no means kind of a huge celebrity. But she was so passionate, and she had the data. So obviously, I was all over it. But she had that to back it up. But yeah, it's taken on a life of its own, and I think that's phenomenal. It just goes to show that how the power that you can get from a thread of tweets, basically.
Yeah. I suppose the same with Marcus Rashford and the school meals thing as well, isn't it? I mean, he was all over social for that too. And like you said, if you're already famous and you've already got a following, obviously it's easier. But yeah, you're right. Just people picking up on real life stuff like that that means something to them. And yeah, you're right. Then it's just there to go viral for anyone.
Yeah. And sometimes there's no logic, I think, as to what goes viral and what doesn't. You know, if you push something and you're like, we're going to make this go viral, well, obviously there's no logic to it sometimes. And, you know, on any other given day, if there was other news going on, it might not have done. But I particularly like the fact that it made me kind of recognize that threads are really popular. So if anyone has got a story to tell, or you know, they're thinking of kind of sharing tips for something, so how people can translate this for their business, what have you got that you can thread together in a story? It might be a how to do this. It might be a, I don't know. I can't think of anything other than a how to. You know, you might have some examples as well, but people like that, even though it kind of, as I say, goes against what Twitter is for, the short, sharp interactions. It tells that story. It keeps people on the platform for longer. So I'm sure Twitter love it as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think the thing is as well with Twitter, isn't it, is that you don't need someone to be following you. So as a person on Facebook or LinkedIn, it's only your connections or your friends that see it. Whereas on Twitter, as long as you get the right hashtags, it doesn't matter who you are, you can broadcast to the world. And yeah, I think that really helps. But that is the most important thing, is make sure you get your hashtags right if you want that to be part of a wider thing.
Yeah. So hashtag wise on Twitter, do we give guidelines? What do you say to people in kind of how many they should use?
We're generally still saying around 3 at the moment. So I'm trying to try and hashtag the words within the tweet as well, rather than putting them at the end, which is unlike LinkedIn. But yeah, I mean, if you go too mad with them, it makes it hard to read. So, but I mean, yeah, 2 or 3 is probably all you need on there.
Yeah. And can you think of any threads that you've read that have stuck with you?
Oh, crumbs, now you're asking. I don't actually go on Twitter that often as me. And sort of most of the people I follow for Green Umbrella probably don't use threads quite as much. So yeah, I mean, I have seen a couple and I have read through them, but off the top of my head, can't think what they were about. So, but yeah, I do quite like them, because sometimes you do get quite drawn in, and then you start reading other people's comments on each bit of it, and suddenly you find 2 hours has disappeared out of your life, and you're still there, part of that one thread. But
there was another one that I read this week, a whole thread about copywriting. So, and obviously, I do a lot of writing for Green Umbrella and for our clients. So that was right up my street, and it was kind of saying what was learnt in, you know, a year of writing, sending out emails and doing email marketing, what we've learned in terms of what headlines had the best impact, you know, what had the best open rates. And that was really interesting, because, you know, some of the tips that they came out with in there, I'm going to read you some of them because I thought they were super useful, were numbers sell. So if you're kind of, wanting to send an email that's kind of, how we made X number of pounds from one email marketing campaign, or how I placed 6 candidates in a job from one Facebook post, something like that. So something with a number in tends to really have high open rates and good click-through rates. An assertion can be better than a question. So if you ask a question, kind of how will this impact that? If you change that round to say, this will impact that hugely, or this will impact that by doing this. So an assertion, something where you're much stronger rather than asking a question, apparently has higher open rate as well, which I would often lean towards more of a question, like, how can you do this? So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. So I might share a link to that thread, because if anybody is doing their own copywriting or their own email marketing campaigns, I'll put that in the comments, because it's really useful, and you can just follow it on Twitter. So there you are. Well, there you go. We can dwell on Twitter threads for ages. Paul has asked if we've got any guests or GU newbies for next week. We are in the process of planning our guest program, aren't we?
We are. And I think Ellie might be joining us next week. She was going to do this week, but of course Christina's not here, so we thought it'd be nicer to have everyone. So hopefully it will be Ellie next week. And yeah, you're right. After that, we need to sort out some more guests. So, again, if you want to be on Live Lunch, let us know.
Yes. We've got some lovely new clients that I want to tap up to bring on as well, that I think will have some really useful stuff to share with us. So one is about personality profiling, leadership profiling. So I think that would be fascinating to talk about that. Yep. Cool. Any more? What do we need to know this week?
I don't think I've got anything else, actually.
I think, yeah, I've been in my hermit phase this week, so
okay, like I said, it's because it's like the 278th day of January. It's February next week.
Yeah, the very end of it has crept up really quickly, and it's like, oh my goodness, the end of January is next week.
All of a sudden, it's kind of quick invoices, get everything sorted. Brilliant. Okay, well, we will be back as usual next Thursday midday, hopefully with Ellie and Dean. So with our new GU colleagues, although they're not that new anymore.
They're not that new now. No.
It's just been a while since everyone's been together. But so yeah, it'll be great to have you along for the ride next week as well, on Facebook, on YouTube, and probably on Christina's LinkedIn if she's here. Yeah. Other than that, have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and we'll say goodbye.
We'll say goodbye.
bye.